Those scenarios that seem to have become our worst nightmares must and above all can be avoided. Too often we think that if terrorists manage to get on board, there's no way to stop them anymore. That's wrong. There still is an extreme and crucial defensive barrier against them: in-flight passenger profiling. I asked him 3 times if he wanted something to eat or drink. He didn't want anything, not even water. A curious behavior for a transatlantic flight that could last 10 hours. Usually I would think, fine, less work for me. But this time there was something about him, something strange. I asked him as a joke if he was on a diet. I asked him in French, assuming that's where he came from. He told me he didn't speak French. I wanted to be kind, so I asked him where he came from, and he answered Sri Lanka. I didn't believe him. Flight assistant Hermes Moadier was right. He was right not to believe him and to be suspicious. That person was a British citizen, catching some explosive in his shoes, ready to blow up. In the small report above, there are at least 7 important signs that lead us to understand the warning. This is a psychological attitude course for pilots, flight assistants, sky marshals, in-flight security officers, which helps us to discover suspicious passengers. It's an introduction course to the In-Flight Passenger Profiler and In-Flight Security Specialist final exam. It's a pragmatic tutorial where the theory is completed with practical exercises which enable to develop observation capacity, valuation, critical observation, photographic memory, and intuition skills. What we must learn to do, we learn it by doing it. Talking about criminal profiling, there's a formula to discover the author of crimes. Why plus how is who. Which means, in other words, you have to discover why there was a crime and you will find the murderer. While studying for the in-flight passengers profiling, this formula slightly changes to how plus why is who. So, you have to observe how the passenger acts like and why he acts like this to discover who he really is. It's not always true that by changing the order of events, the result doesn't change. Talking about human situations, priority observation changes the results of what we see. In in-flight passengers profiling is how and not why to have priority. How comes from observation, from phenomenology, from what is happening now and right there, from immediate experience. How is preventive. Why can be read from causes. It comes from the past. It's based on interpretation and not on the process of immediate happening. Why is reactive. Criminal profiling and in-flight passenger profiling have a lot in common, but also different purposes, methodologies and conclusions. In-flight passenger profiling gives more professional competence to in-flight operators, but it is also a necessary security ultimate defensive tool when all the other airport security filters have failed. It consists of a method created by me called BRAIN, Behaviour Risk of Analysis in Flight, created studying hundreds of past cases of skyjacks, sabotages and other illegal acts of interference. This method provides more than 50 attitude alerts. It's not just a list of attitudes, but it's just a methodology that works combining attitude science with professional in-flight passenger profiler skills. It's a technique based on the analysis of risky suspicious passengers. It is based on observations to prevent a potential imminent illegal act of interference. BRAIN is a dynamic model to analyze risky passengers on board. It is made up of 50 indicators or warning alerts, which are interpreted using a logic and intuitive process. The theory of this model is attitude, aspect, actions of a passenger can altogether reflect his own personality, needs, emotions, and predict future actions. Those aspects can be read as warnings or just as normal behavior. The result is a useful model to predict warnings and eventually useful to start security operations. Alert signs are easy to be recognized. It's the ability of being quicker on verifying the causes that makes the difference. Alert signs make it possible to see the invisible before it's too late. They pre-alert and leads you to find the right solutions on time. It's like the ambivalent figures of Gestalt psychology. Each sign has two faces. In this case, one of warning and another innocuous. The ability of an IPP profiler is to classify the passenger by attentive observation of both sign faces. Now, we'll see some of the 50 signs that compose BRAIN. It's important to remind you that each can be a warning as well as an innocuous sign. It's up to the in-flight passenger profiler intuition to judge properly. A passenger, passengers or companions which seem nervous, frightened, or passengers who show anxiety. A passenger who seems to have secret contacts with other passengers but acting like they don't know themselves. Passenger who often change places or insist to change place or service class without any concrete reason. A passenger who enters in the toilet and goes out with an object or luggage with unusual numbers, shape, dimension. passenger who never leave alone his own luggage or a part of it.
Hi. Can I take your case for you, sir?
No.
Howdy, girl.
A passenger who doesn't eat or drink for the whole flight.
Would you like anything to drink?
No, I'm fine.
Sure?
Thank you. Yes.
This methodology allows you to use a sort of bottom-up intelligence, an articulated intelligence which starts from the bottom, made by the people who are present during the entire period of flight. I am talking of people who are always conscious of what is happening here and now. No one more than the flight operators can be more indicated and ready to do this delicate job. An in-flight passenger profiler can anticipate what the assassin or terrorist was about to do by reading his own actions and predict the possible damages. His goal is to guarantee passenger security during the flight.